Gideon Hay is one of Australia's leading cricket writers and journalists. He joins us now from Melbourne. Gideon, thanks very much for your time. From your extensive knowledge and observation of the game, how does this compare with any other serious incident that's happened on the pitch?
Batsmen have been getting hit on the head quite a lot in the last 10 to 20 years. Whether that's to do with the sense of impunity that the helmet confers on them or not, I don't really know. But this is out of the ordinary because of the place where the ball intercepted Hughes, the back of the neck, which is inherently a kind of an unprotected area. He's almost inconceivably unlucky to have been so struck. And, it's now in the lap of the gods.
And Gideon, it is really shocking because we have come to view cricket as a very safe game in terms of acute injury.
Yes, we have. Maybe we fooled ourselves. There is enormous potential for lethality in that very hard, dense leather sphere. But we got into the habit of, watching the ball bounce off batsmen's helmets and them taking a leg by and having nothing worse than a headache to show for it.
What sort of review, potentially, do you think this may bring in regard to not just safety gear around the head area, even perhaps the bowling of bouncers themselves?
Well, it wasn't a particularly risky delivery. Sean Abbott is a good bowler, but he's by no means express pace. In fact, there aren't very many express pace bowlers around, which perhaps has made batsmen even more inclined to play the shot riskily. The way in which we play the pull and the hook shot has changed since the advent of the helmet. Batsmen now play it off the front foot rather than the back. They're inclined to play it to balls outside the line of the eyes, not to get inside of it the way that it used to be recommended back in the 50s and 60s, and perhaps to put their head on the line and on the assumption that the helmet will protect them. So perhaps coaches will go back to the way in which they're coaching the game and encouraging batsmen to play cross-bat shots. And perhaps parents will have to consider that reputation of cricket for being one of the safer games to play.
But you can't see it as conceivable that there may be a review of the bowling of bouncers and said, keep it below the shoulder?
No, I can't think that. And certainly no blame should attach itself to Sean Abbott. The fact is that, Hughes played a shot. He was in the zone. He was 63. He was well set. He would have felt pretty safe at the crease. He'd been batting well up to that point. But it's amazing how tiny those margins for error are and how potentially injurious.
In terms of the safety gear and specifically the helmets, obviously, in this case, is there a universal standard of safety for them? Was it country by country? How does it work?
There are international safety standards that apply to all helmets, but the design of a helmet is always a trade-off between a degree of protection, a degree of comfort, and aesthetics as well. If you go back to the original helmets that were first trailblazed in 1977 in World Series cricket, those all-over motorcycle helmets, they were hugely safe, but they were incredibly cumbersome and difficult to use and actually made batsmen more likely to be hit rather than less. So perhaps batsmen will consider the kind of helmets that they're using subsequent to this. There was another blow inflicted on a batsman just a month ago, Ben Rohrer, the New South Wales player, and he's been out of cricket since. I think he was wearing the same kind of helmet that Hughes was wearing. So perhaps all batsmen will be looking at their equipment and wondering whether they're fully protected.
Gideon, beyond his ability with the bat, it seems Phil Hughes is a much-liked person, a much-liked character. I presume in your reportage and in your time you have met him. How did he strike you?
Oh, he's a full young man. Everything good about Australian cricket. Youthful, spontaneous, determined, affable, has suffered setbacks in his career. I think he probably would have played the Test match in Brisbane next week. It would have been the fourth start to his career in 6 years, but he's handled being, first reserve for the Australian team, Plum. He had a lot of good cricket in front of him. He'll be 26 on Sunday. He played 26 Test matches. He's made 26 first-class hundreds. This looked like a man on the brink of a very fine career, brimful of confidence. And that's what's so ghastly about seeing him cut down.
Gideon Haigh, live there from Melbourne. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Gideon.